when it comes to building wealth as well? Because okay, what do you overall? What do you want to do?
I want to have the type of money that I have houses in Monaco, houses all over the world that I just go and vacation at.
Yeah.
Like I don't want the 2-story, nice residential neighborhood with, a couple nights, my little weekend Corvette money. Like I want the Maserati, the Rolls Royce, the Beverly Hills. Like I want the big money.
Facts.
And you can only really get there really by owning a business.
Right.
There's not a lot of ways to get there if you're not owning a business.
Mm-hmm.
Describe myself in 2 words, rich and unemployed. These stones cost 2 birds. Let it count it when she bored. Deposit hit checks clearing, ayy, nothing void. I know that ain't my ex calling, null and void. Where we going? Money going up.
All right. Welcome again to another episode of Rich and Unemployed. And I am your host, Jonathan Dubuton. And we have a very special guest, my boy, Chris G. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my boy.
What's up, everybody? I'm Chris G. I'm a real estate investor, serial entrepreneur, and cybersecurity engineer, and I do a lot of IT stuff too. I'm gonna get into a lot of the details as we go throughout the podcast, but I have a lot of game to drop on everybody today. Hopefully, you guys take this as a learning lesson and not me trying to flex, but I wanna get transparent with the numbers and what I do and what I'm trying to do. That way, if you guys find something that you like or find something you wanna look more into, you can either hit me up directly or just Google and dig deeper yourself.
All right. So before we get started, make sure you guys like, subscribe to the channel before we get started. Make sure you guys check out my Patreon, check out the private Discord group where I'm teaching guys how to level up in life. Also check out my website, richunemployed.net. And let's get started. So Chris G, bro, you basically just got started in real estate maybe less than a year ago, a little over a year ago?
It's about to be 2 years next month.
2
actually.
years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, bet. Man, time be flying, bro. Last time I talked to you. All right, so before we get into the real estate, let's first give them some numbers, like to give them like, to let them know who you are, how much you're making, what are you doing. Break that down for me real quick.
So in between the age of 23 and 24, I did $250,000. And that's between appreciation, principal pay down, cash flow, salary, and a couple other small side hustles that I do. And then this year, I'm trying to hit $500,000. I had some hiccups on the way, but if I don't hit it, I'll be close, hopefully. And
I wanted to broadcast that just because I want people to understand, like, it's possible, right? Like, you started at a very young age, and you're 2 years in and you're talking about making $500,000. And some people think that it's kind of difficult to get in real estate, starting from nothing. And you didn't really have much to start with.
At all.
Right? So let's give them background information. So like, where do you come from?
Man, the way that I grew up, my parents, I don't want to get too deep in the situation, but my parents just weren't in a situation to provide for me. So growing up, like $100, $200 expense that came up would have been a lot. Yeah. It would have been a big deal if that came up. Was able to get into college, through financial aid, thankfully. And even once I got to college, I still kind of had to figure out a way to make money, a way to get by, because financial aid only covers so much, But the way that I've always presented myself, the way that I've always carried myself, and the way that I've dressed and things like that, I've never been designer heavy or anything like that, but from the outside looking in, I always carried the perception that I had money, that I had it, even when I didn't. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was times in college and even before then, of course, where I was at the grocery store for $50 and I had to check my card to make sure it would go through. Mm-hmm. Like, I was that type of poor growing up. Like,
I've been there.
It was a bad situation, man. But I've always been kind of lazy. I don't really use a negative connotation with the word lazy. I never really wanted to do a lot of work. I wanted to make the most amount of money without doing a lot of work. So I chose IT as my degree for college. It's naturally good with computers. Seemed like you make a lot of money starting off. Why not, So I went to college for IT, ended up adding a double degree in cybersecurity, like halfway through. It was a brand new major. Everybody was talking about getting into cyber, make the most money doing this and that. So I ended up adding the whole second degree. It was in a whole separate college. I had to do like double prereqs. I had to do double everything just to graduate. I ended up graduating in 4.5 years with a 3.82 GPA and then a 3.72, or it's 3.68 with the other degree. So I went crazy. And another thing to add on to that is like when I graduated and I posted and I had my GPA under my posts, a lot of people were so surprised because I would still be in the parties. I would still be turned up with everybody else. Like I was outside every day just doing whatever. People didn't really know that I was like academically smart because I never really had to try.
Yeah.
I could study for the test the night before, study for finals the night before, and go in and just kind of learn it fast and kind of learn on my own. So I was able to get by with that. And I kind of took the same mentality in the life, was getting by without doing a lot of work.
Let me speak on that, because some people do like take laziness. I think it's the wrong word, laziness. I think it's just working smarter, not harder. Because I don't really like to work hard at all. I don't like to use my hands. I like to use my brain and try to facilitate something in my head where I can make the most amount of money or do something fast in the fastest amount of time possible. So like, there's nothing really wrong with using your brain. Some people like using their hands, and nothing wrong with it. So it's not laziness.
Right. And I mean, finesse to talk to that. In college, I did 8 internships before I graduated, bro. That's not even 8 summers in 4.5 years. But I got my first internship at MCV because I knew somebody. And once you have one internship, it's just like one job. It's easy to get more.
Yeah.
So I was doing co-ops and internships. The co-op is like during the school year, and internships during the summer. Because I could make double, triple the amount of money. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of my people in school, they were making minimum wage, doing like serving, doing all these things. I don't want to do that. That's getting your hands dirty, you know? So I was able to get IT internships and operations management internships and cyber internships, sitting behind a desk, making 20, 25 an hour. And then by the time I got my last co-op before I graduated, I was making like 60K. I was making 60K in college, benefits and all.
From your job?
Yeah, from my co-op.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, bro.
How do you even like stay motivated to continue to finish if you're making that much money?
Well, it was contingent upon my degree, so it's like if I didn't graduate with my degree, they couldn't offer me a full-time job.
Facts.
I could have went about it a different way, because if I know what I know now, I would have just got the certifications and called it a day.
Yeah.
But at that time, the world was still in the whole mentality where the degree matters. But shortly after, like around COVID time, that's when people started loosening up on the degree requirements, and they're more willing to just accept the certs.
Now I hear a few people like speak about that industry, and people just want to get into it just because of the money. Would you recommend like people get into that field? Like how easy it is? Like what is it?
You talking about IT or cyber or both?
I'm talking about both.
IT is extremely easy. Like you can do help desk, you can do SharePoint, you can do all these things that don't even really require certification. And it's really just clicking buttons, because IT is the use of applications.
Yeah.
It's not the development of it. All you're doing is clicking buttons in IT. That's what it's for. So you can start a job and they're going to train you how to click the buttons. What button does what? It's going to be simple, boring, repetitive work.
Right.
I mean, and I feel like a lot of people go into IT or even any other job expecting to like the job. You're not going to like any job you do. You're going to be sitting behind that desk for 8 hours a day, bored out of your mind. But it's lazy money it's lazy good money, There is going to be a cap though, because you get into IT and you're not like a nerdy person that wants to get certs and is actually interested in it, you're going to cap yourself, because you're going to need those things to actually get to the next level of income.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're not an IT person and you don't like it and you're just kind of sitting through it, you probably won't make more than like 60, 70, to be honest with you. You really won't. You're going to need like high level certs to really kind of break the 6-figure barrier.
How much you making?
So my first job out of college, bro, I was making like between like 70 to 80 or something like that. And then I bought the building. So I actually crossed over the 6-figure mark. I'll circle back to the building store, but this is just relevant for the income. I crossed over the 6-figure mark with the building, plus my job 6 months out of college. I bought the building 6 months out. And then my second job choice, because I just picked something random to move to Atlanta. It was either Atlanta, Charlotte, or Houston, and I ended up getting the job offer first in Atlanta. So it's like, all right, let me just take this job for now.
When you say about the building, you talking about real estate?
Yeah.
No. I'm just talking about how much you make, like, just with your cyber security.
Oh, okay. Okay. With cyber, like, I make, I want to give specific numbers, so I'm still like at the job, but like I make over 100 though, and it's between like 110 and 140. I'll give you that. It's between like 110 and 140, but I work an hour a day.
Hour a day.
Literally, and bro, the hour a day is like, literally like sitting in a meeting, muted, doing nothing, just doing nothing. And I can make, honestly, it's crazy because I can make a lot more money, but I just don't care enough to go and get the certs. I don't care enough to deal with the politics. I don't care enough. I'm not a nerd at heart. I just did it because for the initial money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's to invest in real estate.
Hold up, wait. I know the episode is getting good. I know you're diving deep into it. But before we go any further, I got a special offer for you guys. I got 2 ebooks for the price of 1. right? One ebook is about CPNs, how to build and create, and the other one is learning about crypto. If you're still trying to figure out what crypto is and how to invest in it, this is the perfect ebook for you. So I have 2 ebooks for the price of one. I'm gonna leave the link in the description, and you go ahead and cop it, man. I promise you, this is something you probably need in your life. So for $47, you can get 2 ebooks. What else you're doing? See you guys.
Once you start getting up into the higher income jobs, like you got to do more work and you got to have more qualifications. So honestly, I don't know a lot of people that are making that off of one job with no certifications. I don't have any certifications inside.
Yeah.
So I found the most amount of money doing the least amount of work, and that's why I've been sitting at like, you know, that 140, like 130 range for like as long as I have, because I've been there for like a year and a half now, because I'm satisfied with it, you know.
I mean, that's good money though, you know, for an hour a day, and you know, like it doesn't even require a lot of time, and you get to do what you really want to do.
Facts.
So let's get into real estate, because you say you bought the building. I really want to hear about this. I'm really interested in that. So let's take them on the journey of how you started real estate. What made you want to get into real estate?
So I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad my junior year of college. And at this time, financial aid was still paying for all my expenses. Like my job money was still, was whatever I made I could spend, you know? So when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, it opened my eyes to needing real estate, honestly being an entrepreneur. There's no entrepreneurs in my family. Everyone is like, go to college, get a job, do this, do that. And it's very like by the book, you know, it's just, that's all they know. So I read the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and he just said all these things about the vehicle of real estate and how it could build wealth and not working for money and not exchanging your time for money, all these things. And it kind of just opened my mind. So from my junior year all the way to like my senior year of college before I graduated, like I was literally just saving my money. I didn't know for sure what I wanted to do yet, but I was pretty sold on real estate, but I know I needed money for it. So I was like, let me stop spending money crazy. You know, I kind of like ducked down and just saved up all the money I could. And there's a rule with like mortgage guidelines that if you're a recent college graduate, as long as you work in your degree fields, you don't need your 2 years of income. You can qualify immediately after college for real estate. So after saving up my income for 6 more months, once I graduated and got the job, I'm making real money now, you know. I went ahead and put the offer in on my first building. So it's a quadplex. And well, let me step back a little bit too. So like, I started watching YouTube videos and trying to learn as much as I could. Other than Rich Dad Poor Dad, I just watched YouTube videos. Didn't have a mentor, didn't have a family member to reach out to. So I'm watching all these YouTube videos trying to learn how it works and how I could get into it. I probably watched like 5 videos, man. And then one of the videos, you know, they're like 10 minutes long. You can only put so much stuff in a YouTube video, you know what I'm saying? So in one of the videos, he said that you got to walk through properties. Like you got to call seller agents, and you gotta kind of like get in the field, or else you'll just be looking at videos and learning forever. So I was like, all right. I went on like Zillow, put in a criteria search, like I want 2 to 4 doors built before this year, below like this price range. I think it was like below like 600K. Within like, you draw like a circle of the area. So whenever a building, you know, duplex, triplex, quadplex popped up in that area, I would get an alert. So I set up the alert. I didn't see anything worth like going to see, except for like this small little duplex, like an hour away. Went to go see it. It was just small, needed a lot of work. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Hold on 1 second. So you going to look at properties or doing your research on them. Like, you're not thinking about how you're going to be able to afford this?
Well, I mean, I had money saved up, but I really hadn't like put in too much effort into trying to figure out if I could even afford it, bro. That's how much of an amateur I was. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
You know? And I mean, I've always had the mindset where I'll make it work, but at that time, I realistically wasn't like planning to buy it. Yeah. I just wanted to kind of get my foot like in the door and kind of like look at places and kind of just get familiar with it. I had no intention of buying like a building or anything like anytime soon, to be honest with you. I just knew I had the capital to buy something. So I was like, let me go ahead and start looking. But I was at the gym one day, man, and something popped up. It was like a quadplex in Decatur, popped up. They were asking like $400,000 for it. I didn't even know how much pre-qualified for, whatever. Called the agent. It was brand new, renovated. It was a turnkey property, so there's no room for like forced equity or anything like that. And I called the agent, like within 5 minutes, called her. I was like, I want to come see the property. I'm interested. I'm serious. Like, let me come see it. And she was saying that a quadplex in Atlanta is going to go really fast. She was like, I'll give you the lockbox code. You can go and look at the building now. And it was like 7, 8 o'clock, you know? So I go and look at the building, walk in there. I see like 4 2-bed, 1-bath apartments, brand new hardwood floors, brand new appliances, new flooring, all this stuff. And just like, wow, like, all right, I want to buy this. No idea if I could buy it. Just talking like, I want to buy this. So I called the lady. I was like, I want to buy this. She's like, okay, send me your pre-approval letter and send your offer over. I was like, okay, I'll call you back. It's like, I'll call you back. So man, I called lenders, called my first lender. He ran like my credit and my income and all that stuff. It's like, you're not gonna make it. You can't do it. So I was close though. I wasn't that far off. I was like maybe $50K off because I had student loans. I had things under my name. So my DTI was a little bit too low. But after calling, I think the eighth lender told me that I could use the income from the leases to offset my DTI, my debt to income ratio, to help qualify for the mortgage. And that's when I learned it's easier to buy a multifamily than it is to buy a single family. And from there,
hold on, let's not go over to people's heads. So by buying this duplex, you was able to afford it because the tenants in it.
yes, but it was vacant at the time.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember that. All right. So, okay, well, walk us through that process and how you was able to put that together.
So I had to call the listing agent, and so I got pre-approved for the amount contingent upon me having like 2 signed leases, or I think it was 2 signed leases. So I called the listing agent and said, "Here's the pre-approval. Here's my offer. I think I offered $390 on a $400,000 building. I didn't really understand how hot the market was. I actually undershot it. But I sent the offer in. I think the building was posted Thursday night. She told me the seller would review the offers Monday. But one thing about me is I maximize all my connections. Like I met you in the gym, just, adapt you up or whatever. Like it's kind of the same thing with everybody. I try to become friendly with them, try to network with them. And I was like, asking her questions about her life, kind of like she told me about her daughter. Like we were cool. Like, we kind of developed like a mini friendship. So it made her want to help me out.
Yeah.
And then I told her I didn't have a representing agent. So it kind of created an opportunity for her because the seller was a very experienced real estate person. The listing agent was just a formality for him. He didn't need her expertise. So she tried to represent me and the seller, which created a bias factor. So when Monday came around, she called me and once I got all the offers in, she's like, look, we got 15 offers. Yours is one of the lowest. It's not gonna cut it. I'm like, okay. What's the highest offer? She's like, we got a $500,000 cash offer. The rest of them are like, she got like a $425 offer, and the rest of them were $400 flat, no closing costs, all that. So what I did is like, okay, what can I do to make myself more competitive? She went and asked him, what can he do to make his offer more competitive? And he said that if I go to one of his trusted lenders and I get pre-qualified through them and they can guarantee that my finances will close, then that'll give me a better shot. So I went to his lender, got the the pre-approval and stuff like that.
For how much?
For $400,000.
But somebody offered $500,000 cash.
Yeah, but so this is what was told to me at the time. Since the seller was so experienced, a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll offer really high, and then when you get the property locked on the contract, they'll just dial down the price with contingencies and inspections. And basically, they weren't going to pay nowhere near $500,000 for it. So he just didn't feel like dealing with it. I'm pretty sure he got on the phone with them and some other things were said. I don't really understand all that, but with me going to the lender, and I don't exactly know what was said between the listing agent and him, she kind of convinced him to go with my offer. I never met this guy before, but he ended up choosing my offer. And that's when the work began because my offer was contingent upon me getting 1 to 2 signed leases. So she asked permission for me to use the lockbox to do showings of the building. So here I am, like a young black guy in Atlanta. Sometimes, like, I tried to dress professional as much as I could, but it's like sometimes I would get random calls during the day for people wanting to go show the building, and I was desperate. I only had like 20 days to get these leases. Man, I would show up at this building, young black guy. At the time, my hair was higher, like trying to show a building for people to rent that was vacant with the idea that they can move in when I buy the building. So, I mean, I had to do like 20 different showings. I got called a scammer. Sometimes I got people back out because they thought I was scamming and all these things. So what I ended up having to give people like a 10-minute crash course on real estate and teach them so that they understood.
What condition was the apartments in?
They were brand new renovated.
Okay.
Brand new, yeah. But the part that was a little sketchy is I was using a lockbox to get in. They could tell people really do that in Atlanta. People really scam with it. So it looked like a scam, and it very well could have been, just based off of everything that looked like. It just looked terrible. You know, me using a lockbox, not one tenant's in there to vouch for me. It's just completely vacant. I haven't bought the building yet. The for sale sign still in the yard. Like, it was not a good look, bro. But I ended up meeting 3 people that trusted me enough to go forward, because for the lease to count, they had to give me their security deposit and first month's rent in a money order. And when you hand over a money order, bro, like, that's the money on the money order. Like, they're handing me like $2,000.
Yeah.
So, and then I could still like not close.
Right.
You know, anything could go wrong. I could still not close the building. So they're gambling $2,000, them having a place to live when I close. Like, that means the closing date stays the same. Their apartment, whatever, is going to be up at this time. They need that place to live. And $2,000, these people money. Like, it's like a C- neighborhood. So these weren't necessarily people that had a lot of money. $2,000 is a lot of money to just give someone for this. So I really had 3 people that took a gamble, and I could only rent out 3 out of 4 apartments because it needed to be like owner occupied.
Yeah.
So I only got 3 signed leases, but I ended up getting a 4th tenant that paid me cash a little bit later. But that's how I qualified. I ended up getting 3 leases. I only need like 1 or 2. Ended up getting 3 before closing. And closing was, or at least that due diligence period, that 30-day period before closing, was the most stressful time of my life, because when your lender's like running numbers on things, she doesn't necessarily know the final amount of cost until everything's finalized. Like, I'm over here doing calculations because I did something called FHA, which allows you to put 3.5% down on the equity of the property. But that's just 3.5% down, into the equity. So 3.5% of $400,000 is $14,000. It's like, oh, I got that. I got $14,000, way over that. But when you look at the closing costs, the title and escrow fees, you need to have 3 months of reserves. You need to have 1 year of property insurance, prepaid. You need to have all these things that I didn't know. Watch some YouTube videos, bro. I didn't know what I was doing. So I'm over here during this period already thinking I'm over my head, having to do this ghetto lease finding stuff and doing all these things to kind of just make myself the bare minimum. And I'm getting hit daily with, okay, by the way, you'll need this. By the way, you'll need that. By the way, you'll need more money here, more money there. So, man, it was just, I was trying my best to make it work, bro. But at that time, I had like 30 saved up, or like 28 or 29, something like that. By the time the closing costs came and all these fees, just imagine, bro, when you go and buy a car, you see how long the receipt list is of things you have to, all the fees and stuff. Imagine buying a house, let alone a small apartment building, bro. Yeah. Bro, when I say the fees, like, it was like pages and pages of stuff, bro. So I ended up having to spend like almost, I think by the time I paid I had the 3 months of reserves in there, I ended up needing like 36, 37K to buy the building, bro. And I didn't even have all that. I had to use credit. Yeah. And to kind of run on another play of this, like, you can liquidate your credit cards by taking a loan against your already allocated balance. So I say, like, you have a $10,000 credit limit. That credit's already been like assigned to you. Like, you've already been approved for that allotted amount. You can take a loan, a low interest rate loan, against your credit so you can get out cash, because you cash advance, you're paying 20+%. But with Citi at the time, they still do it. You can get a loan against your credit for like 9 to 10, maybe 11%. But I knew that after closing, you get a month without having to pay the rent. And then I had everyone's security deposits too. So I knew that I could pay all the leveraged money back like a month after closing at the worst. So I took the lien against my credit and used that to finish the purchase of the building. And now I also know there's another service that does this. It's called Plastic, PLASTIQ. It'll allow you to liquidate your credit for like 2.7%. It'll do an ACH straight to your bank account from your credit. So it'll just look like, you made a purchase or something. If I would have known that, man, I would have been good at the time.
So you basically use your credit cards?
Yeah, bro.
To pay off that rest of the balance?
Yeah, bro. It was rough. Because when I bought the building, stuff started going wrong, and I'm already leveraged, maxed out the cards.
What you mean going wrong?
Man, like 2 months after, not even 2 months, like a month after buying the building, I get a call from a tenant saying that her toilet's backed up and like sewage is coming out of the bathtub. It was not good because there's only one bathroom in each unit. And this is like 12 o'clock at night, man. So I had to call a plumber. And even though a quadplex is still a residential loan, they charge you commercial prices when they see it's a building. And I had to pay the plumber like $750 to go unclog this toilet in the middle of the night. And then it's unclogged. Everything's good, right? 2 days later, I get another call. It happened again, bro. And this is the middle of the night again. I had to call another plumber. This time I found one for like $600. And that's what I learned. Plumbing makes a lot of money, bro.
I
Plumbing
would have pulled
business,
up
bro.
with my motherfucking plunger, snake.
Bro, you didn't see it, bro. And also, Home Depot and stuff is closed. It's the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Can't ask them to go, without the bathroom. And then also at this time, I didn't want to lose the tenant. If I lost the tenant, and I got to cover the mortgage myself, I'm already, I'm already down. But to backtrack a little bit too, it's kind of crazy because I was at the closing table signing papers, and 2 out of the 3 tenants were at the building with their cars loaded, ready to move in.
Yeah.
So I literally had to speed from closing, giving people their keys so they can move in. So it was real tight. But to make a long story short with the plumbing thing, like when you buy a building that's older than like 40 years old, 50 years old, I think like 1970s, something like that, they had cast iron pipes. So I didn't know to get a sewer line inspection when I bought the building. So the sewers were just old and needed to be replaced. I had to replace all the plumbing and put PVC in, which cost me like $5,000-$6,000. And I'm still using credit at the time. So I never recouped my money because of that. I was just kept on going more and more in debt, trying to fix things, just trying to get things stable, man. And when people, like, when you live in an apartment, you live here, like, I don't know, I know you own this, so it's like, if you have, you still have maintenance and stuff, right? Like, if you call maintenance, they'll come fix it, whatever.
No, you have to call your own maintenance.
Oh, that's the difference between a condo, okay. But if you're renting a place and something goes wrong, you just call, you don't think about how it affects the owner, you know what I'm saying? Small stuff is going wrong, like sink leaky or whatever, just calling me. Like you call a plumber or something like that, I'm still getting hit with commercial prices here, commercial prices there, like certain things I try to do myself, bro, but like, it was just nonstop stress.
But like, how would they charge you commercial prices? Let's just say like the tenant called and like, hey, my toilet's messed up. They couldn't charge them commercial prices.
Yeah, they were billing me, like.
Yeah, you could have just been like, I'm the fucking tenant.
Well, see, that probably would have given me even more reason to just charge if they didn't talk to the owner, though, to be honest. That probably would just like, just them not talking to the owner, probably like, whatever, I'll just charge whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, I try to be sympathetic when I call them, like, look, I know it looks like a quad, but I just bought this. I'm struggling. Can you help me out? Can you give me a small discount or something? And I got little like discounts here and there because closed mouths don't get fed,
So do you still own this property?
Yeah, I do now. I still own it now, but I feel like it's time to sell because a recession's coming. And I made so much money off appreciation just from the value of the asset itself because like it was worth $400 when I bought it, and now it's comping between like $650, $700 range, bro. And that's like I said, it's turnkey. That's forced equity. That's just rotating tenants in and out for 2 years and making like $300,000, $400,000. That's a lot of money, bro. So thinking about just selling, liquidating. That way I can be really liquid for the recession when it comes, and just using that money to buy businesses. Because one thing that I didn't really understand when I first started my entrepreneurial journey is that real estate's a good income diversification strategy. When you're making money, it's good to put money into real estate to help offset taxes.
Yeah.
And to kind of park your money in places in a vehicle that'll like appreciate and kind of like save you money. But if you haven't developed active income first, it's not smart to just throw all your money in real estate because your velocity of money is too slow.
Right.
Like you buy a building here and 2 years goes by and it takes you 2 years to save all your money again, another $30K by the time real estate prices then went up or whatever. Then you buy another building, you're buying like one building every 2 to 3 years or something like that. Like it'll take you to 40 by the time you replace a 6-figure salary or, a good, like a high 6-figure salary in real estate. So I kind of just decided that I'm ready for like bigger plays of money, like you really get rich when you're performing as an operator of a business, whether you want to flip the business, when you want to buy the business, increase the cash flow, and just kind of like eat off of the EBITDA or the net returns. Like you can, with SBA, you can put 5 to 10% down on a business that cash flows. Like let's say a business they're asking $1 million for it. $1 million business at minimum should cash flow you $300 to $500K. So basically, like you can put $50,000 down and buy a vehicle that's making you $300,000 to $500,000 a year. That's way longer money than real estate could ever be.
You're talking about buying pre-existing businesses?
Yeah. So there's actually another thing that makes buying businesses more appealing. You can actually buy a business with none of your own money. Like one of the methods that you can use to do this is that you can use the equipment that the business owns, and you can get asset-based financing. So you can actually get a lien against the equipment that the business has and use the money from that loan to pay for the down payment of the business, and the money will be dispersed to the owner at closing. So let's say you want to buy a trucking company, and the trucking company owns $500,000 in trucks, and they're willing to give you 80% a loan against 80% of the value of the trucks. So you could give the owner, theoretically, the numbers are gonna be rough because they don't have a calculator or something like that, but you can give the owner like $400,000 in asset-based financing at closing to buy the business from them with none of the money out of your pocket.
Where'd you get this idea from? Do you know somebody that's actually doing this?
I know a couple people that are doing business acquisition. They haven't ventured into the zero down space. They have in other forms, not the equipment financing realm, but they've done something called like owner financing, where the owner was willing to carry the note with a smaller down payment. Like I remember I talked to someone the other day. He bought $1 million business for only $10,000 down because the owner was willing to carry. And owners are willing to carry a business note if you make it appealing to them. Let's say that they don't want to pay capital gains tax or just an enormous amount of tax on the sale of the business. If you're giving them like monthly dividends or monthly payments, they're not paying as much taxes. And they're kind of have like a passive business model for them, at least at that point. Because if you're paying them like $10,000 a month for like the next 5 years, that may be better for some people for tax evasion than getting the $1 million up front. But I really found out and learned throughout the past year that the real way to get wealthy is business acquisition. And it's even easier to get into because of all the different creative financing strategies that you can use to buy the businesses that real estate doesn't have.
Now, do you have to actually be hands-on when it comes to buying these businesses, or you just invest and then hire a team to do all this?
So the way that I want to do it, I'm not trying to work a job. If I'm getting into this investment strategy, I want to be a business operator. Or at least a hands-off business operator, like a secondary operator. So what I would do is I would either buy a business that's already has a GM or that it's easy delegatable, and I would just hire an operator to run the business for me. Because a lot of businesses, what they'll do is on the time of purchase, they'll offer you a certain time period where the owner will stay on and train you how to run the business. So what I could do is I could either pay a little bit extra, or if the owner allows it, I would have the operator or the GM with me during training, so we're both being trained on how to run the business. That way, from day one, I'm not running the business myself.
Is there any particular business that you're looking for? It could just be anything.
The simple, boring businesses that are overlooked are probably going to be the best value add opportunities.
For an example.
Plumbing businesses, learn that the hard way. They actually make really good money to get the certification, and you can have a staff of people working for you. Mobile locksmith businesses make good money. Gym is a really good opportunity because a lot of gyms just aren't doing marketing efficiently. So if you find like a business, use a gym as an example, that's not doing like digital marketing, let's just give a number sake. You could go in and let's say you buy a gym for $500,000, right? You put 10% down to that or whatever it is, and you go in and you start doing digital marketing. Let's say the business is already creating like $300,000 in revenue. You go in, you increase marketing, you increase the client base by like 10x. You just 10x'd the value of the business. It's valued based off of the revenue it's making. So let's say you did this in a 6-month time. You could increase the business from a $500,000 valuation to a $2 to $3 million valuation. And theoretically, you could exit right there, or you could just eat off the cash flow that it's already making. Another good business is a gas station. Self-storage is good. Trucking is good, even though the gas prices right now are eating profits, but it's still a really good business model.
Now, you wanted to get into the trucking industry, but you're not.
Yeah, I was literally, because right now the chip shortage, it made it so you kind of have to wait in line for a truck because so many places right now have a wait list because people are trying to get into trucking. I was on the wait list and I got the call, this is like 2.5 months ago, that my truck was finally ready. Had the corporation ready, had the credit ready, had everything set up to run this business. And I call somebody that I know that's been in trucking that was doing like, 10 to 15 a month in profit. Everything was looking good. I call him, say, hey, my truck's ready. I'm ready to start. Like everything is going good. And he says, I had my first 2 negative months in a row because the gas prices are so high, it's eating all his profits. He was like, bro, don't get into trucking right now. Wait for whatever this is to blow over and wait for it to be profitable for at least me before you start. So I kind of had to take a step back, which is a bummer because I've been saving up my money. Like I was ready to go all in on trucking. And that kind of pushed me back. And then I was like, okay, if I'm not getting into trucking right now, I have money ready. Let me maybe get into Torro. After looking at the Torro business model, I didn't really like it because it was too hands-on. It's not easily delegatable because people are going taking pictures of the car check in and check out small scratches, things like that. Like it's too tedious for someone that doesn't own the car to do. Insurance claims for scratch rims, like it was just a lot. But I actually found out about a loan program that Bank of America does. It's called the Fleet Loan. They'll allow you to get 4 cars under your business name with 1 inquiry. So I went ahead and applied for this, and they gave me like $85,000 for 4 different cars. So can't think of how much money. That's like $200 and something thousand.
300.
Yeah.
Like 32, 35, some shit.
Yeah, something like that. So this was an opportunity for me to get into the business, and I had 30 days to kind of give them the title of the car and start the process or whatever, buying the car. And that's when I was kind of like sitting in front of it, and I really looked at it from a business model perspective, and it just didn't make sense to go, $300,000 in debt for something that just wasn't making a big enough spread for me, because the profit margins are so low in Torro. Like, you could have a $1,200 car payment, maybe making $15 a month, only $300 over it, or $2,000 on, $1,000 over. So it's like, depending on the car, the model, and what rental path you use, it can vary widely, but it just, if I'm gonna go $300,000 in debt, I want to be making more money than I would have been making off of Torro.
Right.
I love the idea of like having like a fancy, like exotic car.
Yeah. That's really the only reason I would get into it, because I have multiple cars I could flex in and then also make money on the side. But I've heard that the Torro game right now is not where it's at. People not making as much money as they used to. I think people that's in the luxury side, they're not even making as much money as they used to.
People are getting out of it.
Yeah.
People that, went viral for doing Torro at first, like they're getting out of it.
Yeah. But Torro itself, like they tax you so hard. It's like you have to start, your private rental. And I mean, I really don't know how that works, but I'm pretty sure like on the private side, it's probably a little more money, but still trying to find that clientele.
Yeah, so you got to find the clientele. Then also you're doing like third-party insurance. So it's like Torro from an insurance perspective is very secure because they guarantee it. But there's third-party insurance providers that people that do private rentals would use, and that gets a little shaky when you're getting into the exotic realm of things, because a lot of times they don't like to insure cars over a certain amount. So you're trusting that people show you the confirmation that they signed up for the third-party insurance or whatever. But when they're getting into private rentals, specifically like like exotics, like Lamborghinis and these types of cars, sometimes the type of people that are renting them, people that aren't going to be too nice with your car. Like they'll smoke in it, they'll scratch your rim, they don't know how to drive them. They're here to party for the weekend. Like,
Facts.
I mean,
that's what I do. Like when I get in these cars, I'm I'm doing them real dirty, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. So I can only imagine like whoever I'm gonna be renting to gonna be doing it the same way or even 10 times worse.
The miles and the depreciation, like it wasn't worth it getting into it.
Facts. So like, it seems like you don't just want, like, you're multifaceted, and it seems like, what I'm saying, you're just trying to build yourself up, work on yourself, and build this, like, cause you don't, like, okay, you did real estate, now you want to get out of real estate and start buying businesses and starting trucks and Torro. It's like, so like, what's your overall goal when it comes to just your future? Wait, hold up. I know the interview is going good. I know it's going great. I know this episode is just fire. But have you checked out the new merch that I got on the website? The link is in the description, man. I know you need one of these Finesses Only shirts, one of these Rich and Unemployed shirts. So go ahead and cop you some merch as you're watching this episode. See you guys soon. When it comes to building wealth as well, because, okay, what do you overall, what do you want to do?
I want to have the type of money that I have houses in Monaco, houses all over the world that I just go and vacation at. Yeah. Like, I don't want the 2-story, nice residential neighborhood with, a couple nights with my little weekend Corvette money. Like, I want the Maserati, the Rolls Royce, the Beverly Hills. Like, I want the big money. Facts. And you can only really get there really by owning a business. Right. There's not a lot of ways to get there if you're not owning a business. There's no job that's going to give you that. Like, even like CEOs, unless you're like a Google CEO or something like that, you're probably making like between $300,000 and $500,000. Like most like top level executives of like smaller companies, mid-level companies, that's about what they're making. That's not the type of money that's going to get you there. And it's crazy because once you get in the rooms with these more wealthy people, you'll start to see that once you get higher up in like the wealth ranks, a lot of times you work less. Because you have the money to pay someone to do the work for you, but you have to get there. Yeah. How do you get there? So that's why I told you that I wanted to sell the building, because a recession is coming. More millionaires are made during a recession more millionaires got made during this last recession than the last like 30 years combined.
And that's with any industry too, because with stocks, crypto, everything is low right now.
Bought at the dip.
Yeah, buy the dip, sell, you know? So, I mean, when you sell your property though, okay, how many properties do you own? Just that one?
Yeah, just the one right now.
When you sell it, like, I'm trying to ask this. What if you do the wrong thing? Let's just say you take this cash and you put it in these different avenues.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go your way.
So even though I'm going to have the liquid capital to buy businesses outright, I'm still going to be highly leveraged. I believe in using leverage as long as it's smart leverage. So I'm still going to be trying to use the free acquisition strategies. I'm still going to be trying to use the 5% instead of 10% down. And I'm still going to try to find a private investor to give equity to or give tax gains to finance the 5% or whatever is left. So I'm still going to try my hardest to use the least amount of money possible. And I'm also going to invest in like a mentor that literally specializes in business acquisition. To kind of coach me through it and help me through it. And I'm also going to make sure I invest in a lot of different industries. Because there's certain industries that literally, like, you buy a car wash business, that's not really going to go under. People drive cars.
Right.
Home health care, not going under. There's certain things that just can't be automated. Buying a funeral business, they make a lot of money too.
At what point do you plan on retiring? Like, at what age do you want to, okay, look, I made it. How much money is enough to say, okay, I made it, I'm good?
See, the thing is, man, even though it's not the same level, I sat on my ass for so long, making my salary money now, working an hour a day, doing nothing. I literally did nothing all day. Watched Netflix, went to the gym, watched a movie, went on a date, whatever, rinse, repeat. And I experienced life of what it's like to have nothing to do. And I don't want that for myself.
Yeah.
I want to be doing something, but I want to be able to go on vacation for a month if I want to. You know, take a break for a couple months, 6 months if I want to. And I want the work that I'm doing to be enjoyable. As long as you give me like those factors, I'm happy with still working, you know, into my older years. Because sitting around all day, you're gonna want something. You can only sit on the beach for so long.
Yeah. That shit'll get boring too.
Yeah, all that stuff gets boring. But the amount of money though, I mean, what age are we talking about here? That makes a big difference.
How old are you?
I just turned 25 last week.
All right, you're 25. Let's just say at the age of 35, 10 years from now.
10 years from now, I want to be making between 5 to 10 million a year, and I want to have about the same in net worth. Very bare minimum. And I think that as long as I play my cards right with this sale and where I put my money, that's more than attainable. Honestly, I feel like from 2 years from now, I'll be making 2 million a year in active. And we can mark this date. Like I can come back on the podcast in 2 years on this date, and I'll be making more than 2 million a year.
What's it at, July 13th?
Yeah.
July 13th, 2022.
July 13th. And a lot of people will flex and say like, you know, they have a $5 million business or a $10 million business or whatever, but they have a 5% profit margin.
Right, they're not making that much.
They're not making that much.
Yeah.
Like I want to be making 2 million a year after taxes.
In 2 years, bro, I will be making $10 million a year. 10 million a year, profiting. I see my brand growing that big, and I don't know what all that entails, what I'm gonna be actually doing, selling, but I know for sure I'm gonna be making $10 million a year. That's where I see myself.
And one thing about me, until you have the same like skill set, especially with like your access to people with the podcast, like I ask the right questions. So it's like when I go to these networking events, even people that have courses, like if I see someone that, let's just give an example, just that they're running just a generic business, I'm not gonna go up and just ask like questions that are just time wasters, like, oh, what made you want to get into this business? How long have you been in this business? I'll ask them, okay, so what's your profit margin?
Yeah.
You know,
How?
yeah, like, you know, what's your profit margin? How many employees do you have?
Yeah.
What's your leverage strategy? Do you have an exit strategy? What's your plan for expansion? How many do you do brick and mortar? How are you doing marketing? Do you have a marketing agency? Do you outsource it? Like, I'm asking boom, 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 like the questions I need to know.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these things, once you know the gems of what it is, you can fill in the gaps yourself.
Facts.
I don't need someone to tell me A to Z.
Uh-huh.
You know, like you can read a whole 100-page book and you really only got like 2 to 3 real gems out of that. Same thing with buying a course. You know, you can buy a course just to guarantee that you're doing the right thing, but you're not going to be learning 100% of the course. You're going to know most of the stuff already.
Right.
So, I mean, I've been able to extract value from people like that.
In order to be a millionaire, you have to teach others how to make money. So do you see yourself teaching people? Because you can definitely start teaching people, you know, the real estate that you know.
Bro, the course money is some of the longest money in this game, bro.
It's crazy.
But it's crazy because, like, I have all this knowledge from people that I've gained from firsthand experience, but people want to see it applied before they'll pay for it, even though it's the same knowledge.
Yeah.
So I really just need to put my proof of concepts into play and show the success, and then I'm making a course easily. Because think about this, bro. You make a course one time, as long as it's an industry that doesn't change that much, you could just throw an ad campaign out once a month and bring in $10,000-$20,000. I know people making millions off these courses, man.
Me too. Mostly everybody that I interviewed, and that's really what pushed me to make a course. You know, like I was like, I was kind of like frowned upon, like I don't want to do a course because everybody doing a course. And it's like, why not? You know, you have this knowledge and people want to know it. Why not sell the game? Everybody that I had mostly on this podcast has a course doing numbers.
But it's a different perspective, bro, because you understand, like, your access to people is not normal.
True.
Like, the people that we're surrounded with, even just in, like, Atlantic Station or just in Metro Atlanta that we are around, we're around the top 0.5% of people.
Yes.
So it's like the top 0.5% are doing courses.
Right.
Everyone is not doing courses, bro.
That's
a lot
a
of
fact.
people are struggling, bro. A lot of people
Facts.
are struggling,
And people
bro.
are buying courses because they need to make money.
Right.
Why not? Okay, they're gonna spend some money. All right, damn, I fucked up. Like, why wouldn't I buy this course? You know what I'm saying? For $1,000, that's gonna teach me how to make $20,000. Why wouldn't I go buy a Torro course from Mitch? You know, if you're gonna teach me how to make some money, it's pretty simple.
But once you get over the hurdle of trying to get people will buy the course, of course. But
Yeah.
once you get over the hurdle of selling the course, like, a lot of people don't put the information into action, bro. It's so sad. It's so sad. Like, I learned all this about the building based off of YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of getting thrown in it. A lot of the stuff isn't complicated.
Right.
A lot of it's simple but hard. Like, it's gonna take sweat equity. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take you, like, it's gonna take some restless nights.
Yeah.
But it's simple.
Right, but once you go through it the first time, you good. Like, you're not gonna have no problem buying another duplex.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, you already been through the ups and downs. What are the pros and cons? Like, what you done been through in these last 2 years? What are the pros and cons of, like, dealing with real estate, dealing with a duplex, multifamily?
Oh, it's a quadplex.
Quadplex, my bad.
Yeah, but no, it's cool. I would say the pros is probably the appreciation for sure, because, you know, my building appreciated almost double its value in 2 years, but I caught it at a rare time.
Right.
I caught it during the appreciation boom. So let's say the appreciation boom ends in a year, and when someone wants to get into real estate, they save up that $30,000 and buy it. They'll probably be, if they buy a single family house, you know, more realistic, they might be cash flowing like $500 a month. So you spent $30,000 to make $500 a month. So that's either a pro or a con, how you look at it. You know, you'll have the money in 30 years when your mortgage is paid off or whatever. Another con of real estate is tenants can be very repetitive and just ask you to fix a lot of things, a lot of tedious small things. You'll get calls in the middle of the night if you're not managing it yourself. And if you do hire a property management company, they might charge you more to fix things. Like, they may just call the generic plumber that charges more. They might not care about it as much.
Right. So you're pretty hands-on with it.
Yeah, right now. Yeah, because I'm not doing anything else. You know, why not? Another con of real estate is tenant turnover, bro. Like, people are trying to CP in cribs now. Like, they're going and just not pay the rent. People go in and just, like, tear the crib up, and they don't have the money to fix it. You can't, by the time you're taking the court legal fees, is, you know, people don't care about evictions as much. Like, you might the eviction process is gruesome, bro. 3-4 months. I don't know how to deal with it, thank God, but it's gruesome, bro. But I have a checker that checks for CPN, so a CPN can't get into my crib anyway.
What's the checker?
Like, when you do the rental application, like, it tells me if it's not associated to a social security number. And it tells me also, like, you know, these trade lines are new or whatever. So I know the signs to look at to see if it's a CPN. But the pros to real estate, appreciation, retirement wealth. Like, you know, by the time you retire, let's say it's a $200,000 house. By the time you retire, probably $500,000-$600,000 house that you own outright. There's 100% cash flowing off of. You can cash out, you know, refinance, pull all that money out, and retire off of it. So it's like, it's a good, stable investment. But if you want to increase your velocity of money, you're going to have to treat, at least in real estate, you're going to have to treat it from an active income capacity. You're either going to have to do wholesaling or flipping. And burring is semi-active because you're just recycling the same money over and over again, but you're gonna have to do wholesaling and flipping. Flipping is a very tedious business and it's hard to scale because you're not gonna be able to buy a whole bunch of houses in the same exact area. Each different area and state have different regulations, different guidelines. Things can go wrong if you're trying to long distance flip. Teams quit, hiring a general contractor can be more expensive. Like flips, you're always problem solving. It's a very stressful thing to do actually. And honestly, I know flippers that are flipping, like they're, within the top percentage of flippers, and they're not making over $1 million a year. Actually, they're probably making like $500,000-$600,000 for that amount of stress. So,
but $500,000.
the circle that we're around, bro, we just treat money differently.
Yeah,
Like, we're around people that do 6 figures a month.
Yes.
So it's just like, I look at money a lot differently now. And then the wholesaling perspective, wholesaling is actually probably the easiest business to scale in real estate because you can outsource the calling, the cold calling, the numbers running, the list pulling, all that to like the Philippines or South America. I ran into somebody the other day at a networking event. He said he outsourced to South America because their English is better. So when someone calls you from like, Thailand or something like that, and they're very foreign, like you're less likely to take them serious. But if someone has, a very good American voice, and it's like it's able to pick up on the American norms better, you have better success. So there's people scaling wholesaling business to multi-million. So if you want to get into real estate and you want to actually make money out of it, I would just do the wholesaling point, and you can do subject to financing to keep some of the deals for yourself. That's if you find a house with a mortgage that they don't have enough equity in the house. Let's say they bought it 2 years ago. They only have like 10% equity in the home. That way, if they sold it, they might actually take a loss on it because of the way the market is. Or let's say the house has some repairs that it needs. So it's like it wouldn't pass inspection for putting on the market. It could be in whatever reason, but you can take over the house subject to the existing financing and just refinance at a later date. So like I could go in and say, hey, I'll give you, I see you've been trying to sell the house, you can't sell it. I'll give you $10,000 right now to walk away from the house. I'll take over the financing, give me a few years to refinance out of it. And you can really get into an entire property and take it off someone's hand for, I've seen people get subject to deals for like a couple $100, man, depending on how bad it is, Same thing with business.
More of the story is put yourself out there. All this shit is pretty much easy. If one man can do it, you can too. And if this guy can start doing real estate and knowing nothing about it but YouTube videos and just putting yourself out there and going through trial and error, you can too, right? So like that's with any business, any idea. If you see another person doing it, you can too.
Yeah, I mean, don't let oversaturation scare you.
Facts.
Literally, like all you need to do is do better marketing, have a better scheme, have a better have better strategies than they do. You can already beat out those businesses. Like you don't need the next Tesla idea to make millions of dollars. Like if you just get a small slither of $1 billion industry, $1 trillion industry, a small slither of that could be millions of dollars. So I hear too many people not want to get into business because they feel like this person's doing it or it's oversaturated. Like there's only so many things you can do, but you just have to work harder and be smarter than the other person. Look at what they're doing, look at holes in their business and make sure you improve them in your business. Like restaurants is looked at as like oversaturated, but we both know Celine's killing it.
Right. Oversaturation is really nothing because let's just think about it. If you think something is oversaturated, just think about another year or two from now. How many other businesses are gonna start with this same concept or this same idea? So you're just gonna not do it just because other people are doing it, or you think it's too? That's just like courses. It's a million courses out there. I'm not gonna start a course just because it's a bunch of courses. I got my own marketing. I got my own fan base. I got my own network of people. So I'm not gonna let that stop me.
And the podcast, bro, there's a lot of podcasts that aren't making it, bro. Your reels are getting like 50. I saw a couple 100,000 views.
I got one. I got 2 million.
Jeez.
Yeah, bro. But I have like a strategy. Like I know what my core audience, what they want to see, what they want to hear, and I know what's gonna drive people to my page. So I get it now. So like I'm able to teach that. You know? Like I could teach that same knowledge.
So that's both drop a gem on the podcast right now. I'm gonna ask you first, and I'll answer second. If let's say the average person, let's just say they have $5,000 saved up.
Yeah.
If you only have $5,000 to your name, clear credit, what would you do right now to kind of get yourself to the next level?
I would put that money into myself because it's not too much you can do with $5,000, but you can build yourself up. You can build a brand up with this $5,000. Like if it's gonna take you, not just buying like designer shit like that. Like build an image up, and if you have some type of knowledge in something, go towards that and try to broadcast that. And with that, you can bring in an audience to sell them on something.
Yeah.
$5,000. And then if you got good credit, I would buy a course. I would buy a course on anything that you're interested in. For $5,000, like it's not too much you can do with it, but it's a lot that you can do.
Yeah. So what I would do with $5,000 is I would go and buy a shell corp, an aged shell corp. It's been aged for like 5 to 10 years. I would use my PR, my personal guarantee with good credit, and I would qualify for a whole bunch of, I would have a whole bunch of tabs open for business credit cards, back to back, you know what I'm saying? And I would have the applications filled out, and I would secure a few $100,000 in business financing by submitting.
Have you tried this?
Yeah, bro. But I didn't use a shell corp though. I just used my own, but I got a lot of money in like 0% business financing, bro. It's free money for like 12, 18 months, 0% business cards. Bro, you can, especially with an aged corp, bro, like even with a newer LLC, if you build the trade lines up, so you can do this too, just make an LLC, get the gas cards, get the net 30, the U lines, the Granger accounts, you know, spend like a couple $100. And then there's also websites, I don't know, maybe I'll put them in the YouTube description, giving him to do it, but you can buy rotating accounts, so basically a revolving account. So basically like there's one service, you pay them like $40 a month and they'll report a $5,000 rotating or revolving account to your business credit, all 3 bureaus, $40 a month. Just by having that and a couple gas cards and a couple net 30s, you can go into Chase and get a $50,000 0% interest credit card. You can go into US Bank, get a $50,000 0% interest credit card based off of projected income.
No personal guarantee?
You're gonna have to PR those.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna have to PR those.
You know what? I learned this game from this old guy, and I never applied it. I never applied this, and now that you said it, like a light bulb just went off. Taught me the whole game though. Buying age corps, you know what I'm saying? Using their age, using that, and getting funding.
Getting funding, bro, and like you can get business loans too. It doesn't have to be a credit card, but that credit card, that 0%.
Yes.
That's free money.
Free bands.
You know what I'm saying? And as long as you're putting it into the business for real, like, you know, you're not splurging on it and like not using it irresponsibly, like that could be for a $5,000 investment, you could have $500,000 in your hands for free for 12 to 18 months to build the business you want.
How long is it gonna take to build this business credit up? Well, okay, let's just say, for instance, you bought a shell corp. How long would it take for you to be able to get a loan or get these funding?
So I'll touch on the new first, and then I'll go to the shell. For the new corp, you can have the net 30 accounts, the rotating line of credit for like the subscription services. You get a couple of those, and then you can buy a primary, and you can kind of have all that done within like 3 to 4 months, and you could qualify for $50,000 in financing through the cards. And like I said, if you apply for all of them with the tabs open around the same time, they won't see the increase in the account, because it'll be instant. And there's probably more, but just off my hand, like I know like 7 to 8 different 0% interest credit cards you could apply for. You get 50 from all of them using your projected business income, because projected is really what you project to make. You're not lying.
Right,
you know?
right.
If you're being ambitious, you say I want to make $500,000 in revenue, even if the profit margin is small, whatever, $500,000 in revenue off of my business, I'm projecting that I make $500,000. You put that in an application of that much money in revenue, you'll probably get approved for, like I said, the $50,000, $30,000. So if you do that times, 4 or 5, like that's your hundreds of thousands of dollars in financing. Then you use the plastic play I told you, the 2.7% to liquidate the cards. It look like an ACH transfer to your business bank account. You have that money liquid.
All right. Okay, now what about the aged?
So the aged corps, that's a different ballgame. Like once you actually acquire the aged corp, I think there's a certain like steps you have to do to turn it from a dormant to like an active corp. There's some paperwork and stuff you have to do. It doesn't take too long though. It's basically depending on how many trade lines and things that the business already had under it. Like, is it just an aged corp, or does it have these, or does it have like previous net 30, was it a previous business, or was it just made in the intent to flip a few years later with just age on it? Because it makes a difference. You'll pay more for one that actually had, an existing business that actually had existing trade lines. But for the $5,000 range, you're probably just buying it with the age.
With the age.
But that might increase you, that might put you up from the 50K to like 100K level. But that also, as long as you have good credit, that would allow you to qualify for more like the business loan level of things. That's bigger money.
Now, when you do get this money, you got to have a plan.
Got to have a plan.
Got to have a plan. So while you setting this up, have a plan what you're going to do with this money, because that money can instantly be gone real quick. Think you're gonna live off of it.
Yeah. And also, like, an LLC is a pass-through entity, too. So it's like if you default, it's going to hit your personal name.
Yes.
So you can't go into it thinking that, just run up all this money and nothing's going to happen. Like, please have a plan, especially with the time limit on the money. You know what I'm saying? You don't waste 6 of your 12 months of free money just trying to think of the idea or getting things ready. Like, you want to have everything ready now.
I might run that play myself. Or give it to my homies. Great episode, though, bro. Like, you dropped a lot of gems, bro. I think a lot of people going to learn from this, bro. Like, you do your thing, my nigga.
I'm trying to, bro. Like, I'm still not in the place that I want to be, but like when I was giving out the income numbers over at the beginning, like to the average person, they're like, damn, like I would love to be doing that,
Yeah.
But like I said, just the circle of people we're around, like I'm not making 6 figures a month yet. So like I want to get to that level because that's my norm now. So I'm trying to get there. Like I said, 2 years.
That's another dream he just dropped. You got to be surrounded by the people or the amount of money that you want to make. He just said, okay, I'm surrounded by people that's making 6 figures a month. I'm not there yet, but these are the type of people I'm around. These are the type of people, this type of money I want to make. So by being around these type of people every day, it's pushing me to get to that point. Right. So like if you're hanging around people that's only making $10,000 and like what's going to drive you to this 6-figure mark?
And let me drop a gem for people that are just kind of looking to increase their income too. Something that I know someone is doing now is he's just job stacking. So he's applying for multiple remote jobs. All of them are paying like 120 to like 130. Some of them are even paying more. And he's working like 6 to 7 of them. Because they're remote, he gets all the work done within 40 hours, and he's making like $800,000 a year. He's making like $800,000 a year stacking these jobs.
You know what? I thought of that too, stacking jobs, but actually giving somebody else the position.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's just say the job was paying me $100K a year. I would find somebody and pay them $50K a year to do the same thing.
You can do that for developer jobs because there's a lot of people in India and Philippines because all they need is the coding experience.
Yeah.
It can get tricky though, like during the interview and during like the onboarding process or like the first weeks, like where you're turning your mic on, you're turning your face on the meetings, like it could get a little tricky, With that, if someone did want to run that play, I would just tell them to try to like, because you're not going to be working with your hiring manager. So it's like during the first couple of weeks, I don't know, say your webcam's broken, just try to like be as generic as possible, or maybe even have the guy like from the very start. The name's not going to match, of course, but like, after the hiring, I think you just need to kind of like just have the guy there ready. And there's even a website where you can hire people from the Philippines. There's onlinejobs.ph. But those are for like more simple like data entry jobs. There are some programmers on there too, but the data entry jobs are gonna pay less, but they're easier to delegate. So you can stack like, take you 4 $50,000 jobs to get to the $200,000 mark, but you're only paying them like $250 a month, $350 a month.
Job stacking, making $800,000.
Making $800,000 a year. And I mean, now he's starting his own corporation with it. Now he's applying to the jobs as a vendor and cutting out the middleman. Now the contract award rates are like $200 an hour.
You'll do that? That's something you'll do?
Yeah, that's something I'm looking into doing right now. Literally, bro, $200 an hour. That's $400,000 a year off of one contract. So I'm literally in the process right now studying for the cert to kind of get that going too. Because businesses or not, I still want to have like a job of active income source as long as I have the freedom to like unlimited PTO and I'm working remote. I don't really care. So that's like my next move to get me out of Atlanta. Because I'm probably gonna move soon.
Facts. Where?
I love LA.
I know you're gonna say West Coast.
Man, I love it out there.
I feel you.
Or maybe Miami, but I feel like I want to go experience the West Coast first. Yeah,
Miami is too much fun. LA, you can chill, have fun, but Miami is nothing but fun, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Just turned 25, man.
Man, but still, bro, I see that you focus, bro. You can have fun after 30, bro, but man, you gonna fuck off. Anything else you got for him?
So the other thing I wanted to touch on too is something called triple net leasing. Triple net leasing is the only probably real estate investment strategy that I'll do.
Triple net leasing?
Triple net leasing is when the tenant covers maintenance, taxes, property insurance, all that. It's the most hands-off real estate. Well, there's absolute that's completely hands-off. There's certain things you have to do, but triple net, they cover all that themselves. So no maintenance, no roof repair, no capex, no none of that. They take care of all of it. So let's say like you see a Walgreens, they're just leasing that space. That's a triple net lease, like a Walgreens or a Starbucks or something like that.
Right.
So like when I start making my active income from these businesses, I'm gonna start getting into triple net leasing. I actually met somebody that made he's at $110 million net worth in 3 years.
Wow.
in 3 years, $110 million net worth because of the recession. So that's like, I told you, like, you know, I'm getting liquids because of the recession, and then the recession's coming.
The recession's on the way. Damn.
$110 million in 3 years, bro. And that's net worth.
I need to podcasting is cool and all, man, but is it you got anything else? Cause you got some
Let's see here. So I talked about business acquisition, talked about creative financing, I talked about real estate, I talked about trucking. It's probably always all this stuff that I'm gonna leave out, but I can't even think of anything on the spot.
It's all good, man. I think people got a good hour's worth of great gems.
For sure.
Tell the people where they can find you, man. And no, wait, he's gonna come back in 2 years and let us know how this plan went. So go ahead and tell these people how they can find you, bro.
My IG is at itschris.g, CHRIS. And that's why I don't use Facebook. I don't use Twitter and all that stuff. So really, Instagram is really the only way you can find me.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Another great episode. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, and we out. Appreciate you.